Hello, I'm Raylene. I came back for Thanksgiving like I always did, expecting family, warmth, maybe even a little peace. But the house was quiet, cold. Only Grandpa was there, eating leftovers alone. A note on the counter said I'd know what to do. That wasn't the worst part. They'd used my name to take out a loan, spent Grandpa's pension on spa days and social media ads. My sister wore the watch I bought him like it was hers. And when I confronted them, they played victim. Did they ever really see me as family, or just as someone to use? I pulled into the driveway just past 4. The wind had that Midwest bite to it, dry, sharp, and bitter in the nose. My arms were full, 2 grocery bags and a ceramic pie dish I had carefully wrapped in a towel. I expected the usual noise, pots clanging, someone laughing too loud, the scent of cinnamon rolls or burnt marshmallows. But the porch light was off. No one peeked through the curtains. I knocked anyway, old habit. Then used my spare key. The silence inside slapped me. No clatter from the kitchen, no coat pile near the front door. I stood there in the dim hallway, groceries pressing into my arms, waiting for someone, anyone, to call my name. But there was only the tick of the wall clock and the faint hum of the refrigerator. I set the bags down and stepped slowly toward the kitchen. That's when I saw him, Grandpa, sitting hunched at the table in 2 sweaters, poking at a tray of cold green beans and some limp stuffing with a plastic fork. His hands shook, but he looked up and smiled like I was exactly who he hoped for. "I figured you'd come," he said quietly. I blinked, looked past him to the counter. That's when I saw it, a small sticky note taped under the fruit bowl, scribbled in my mother's unmistakable cursive. "We went out for the holiday. Grandpa doesn't like travel anyway. If Raylene shows up, she knows what to do." I didn't speak. My jaw locked. I read it again. Knows what to do? Like I was some sort of default setting. A backup caregiver no one even needed to notify. "They left 2 days ago," Grandpa added gently. "Said Arizona would be warm this time of year." I sat down across from him. "Did anyone call? Text? Even ask if I was coming?" He shook his head. "No one mentioned you. I don't think they planned around you." That hit deeper than I wanted to admit. I stared at his plate. Leftovers. Cold. A man who had built that house, paid every bill, fixed every sink, left behind like expired milk. I tried to hold it together. I really did. "So they took a trip, left you here. Figured I'd handle it," I muttered. "They probably figured right," he said, voice like paper. I looked at him hard, and for a split second I wasn't angry at him. I was angry at me, for always showing up. I stood up and started clearing dishes without thinking. The air inside the house felt still, not peaceful, just forgotten. Grandpa tried to help, but I waved him off gently. "Sit, I've got it." In the sink were bowls with dried oatmeal crusted along the sides, a coffee mug stained from days of use. I found an old cup of soup left behind the toaster, now thick and gelatinous. The pill organizer on the counter? Still full. Labeled for Monday. But today was Thursday. "They said they'd take care of it," Grandpa offered quietly, almost like an apology. "Said they'd come by to refill my meds. I think Carlene meant to." I didn't respond. I was staring at a stack of mail on the table. None of it opened. Some had yellowed slightly. One envelope was torn open but stuffed behind the couch cushion like someone had tried to hide it and gave up halfway. I pulled it out, bank logo, his name, and a bolded subject line. "Unusual withdrawal pattern notice." I read it twice, then 3 times. "Grandpa, do you know anything about this?" He shook his head slowly. "I don't use the ATM. Carlene said she set up some automatic stuff, said I didn't have to worry about bills anymore." My stomach clenched. I asked him for his login info. He scribbled it down on a napkin. When I signed in, the transaction list nearly knocked the breath out of me. Multiple Zelle transfers titled EM Projects, others labeled AZ Health Support and Coach Cleanse. Several $1,000s, not just once, recurring, one every few days. I clicked open a browser and typed Coach Cleanse AZ. First hit? A promotional article featuring Maritza, my sister, posing with essential oils and juice shots. My hands went numb. I switched over to Instagram. Her stories were all there, public. A spa visit, a branded giveaway. A video of her filming product shots in a luxury condo. She was doing promo reels, funded by Grandpa's pension. But the worst came last. One clip showed her at a boutique pop-up, holding a matcha latte and laughing with some influencer I didn't recognize. As she lifted her wrist to adjust her sunglasses, I saw it, clear as daylight. The watch I bought Grandpa last Christmas, same leather band, same custom screen I'd set up for him with bold numbers and big weather icons. She was wearing it like it had always been hers. My mouth went dry, my chest burned, not with sadness, not this time. With clarity. They didn't just take money, they took dignity too, and didn't think twice. I set the phone down, screen still glowing from Maritza's video, and exhaled slowly. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for anymore. Proof? Closure? Or just a reason not to keep pretending this family hadn't crossed the line a long time ago. The air in the house was stale. I walked into the hallway, trying to shake the heat crawling up my neck. Grandpa was asleep in his chair, a quilt barely covering his knees. I remembered he needed to log his blood pressure. I'd brought him a refillable logbook once. Where was it? I checked the hallway closet, then the kitchen drawers. Nothing. When I opened the cabinet in the sewing room, Grandma's old room, I found a dusty box tucked behind some thread spools. Inside was her phone, the cheap kind with big buttons and a cracked corner. I plugged it in. Took a while to come to life. Scrolling through her voicemail app, I didn't expect anything. Most were spam, a reminder for a dentist appointment dated 2 years ago. Then I saw it. Saved, 11 months ago. No contact name, just a timestamp. I tapped play. Carlene's voice spilled out, sharp and clipped. "You don't need all these pills, Ellison. If you keep nagging, we'll just put you somewhere full-time. You think you're the only one who's tired? You are a burden. We don't have time for your dramatics." The room tilted. I paused the message, replayed it, just to be sure I hadn't imagined the venom in her tone. Grandpa appeared in the doorway, rubbing one eye. "What are you doing in here?" I turned to him, phone still in hand. "Did she say that to you? About a nursing home?" He leaned on the doorframe and nodded. "She was having a bad day, I guess." "No," I snapped. "Bad days don't sound like threats." He didn't answer, just looked away. Later that night, while he was resting, I sat alone in the kitchen. A memory bubbled up. 2 years ago. Grandpa was recovering from knee surgery. I'd called to check on him, but no one picked up. Carlene texted back hours later. "Busy with work, everything's fine." That same night, I saw Maritza's story. Her dancing on a beach in Cabo, cocktail in hand, captioned, "Blessed to escape the chaos." I remember staring at that post like it might change if I blinked long enough. I wanted to believe it was a mistake, a scheduling mix-up. But now? Grandpa walked in, slippers dragging. He looked tired in a way that felt permanent. "They said I cost too much to keep around," he murmured, barely audible. I stood up. "You don't cost me anything, but they will." The next morning, I brewed a cup of coffee I didn't even want and sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through my inbox on autopilot. That's when the unknown number popped up. Out-of-state area code. I almost declined it. Almost. "Hi, this is Melissa from Wellsport Credit Union. Just calling to confirm the co-signed loan for $6,000 you approved in September." My grip on the mug tightened. "What loan?" There was a pause. "The personal line tied to Delroy West. You're listed as the co-signer and mailing address recipient in Omaha." Every hair on my neck stood up. "I never approved any loan. That's my address, but I didn't sign anything. Email me every document right now." 15 minutes later, the files came through. I opened the PDF. There it was. My name, my email, my signature. Except I never wrote it. The signature was close, but just off enough to make my stomach churn. Then I saw the IP address used to apply. It matched my old router at the Omaha condo, the one I stopped using months ago but hadn't deactivated. They hadn't just guessed. I'd been watched. I scrolled further. The applicant? Delroy West, my father. The attached email. lwest92 @ Lawrence, my brother. The same one who once borrowed my laptop, just for 5 minutes. My blood went cold. This wasn't a mix-up. It wasn't desperation. This was coordinated. I shut the laptop and walked into the living room where Grandpa was folding a blanket, hands shaking slightly. "They used my name to fake a loan," I said, voice steady despite the tremble in my fingers. Lorne filed it. Dad's the primary borrower. He sat down slowly. Didn't ask how I knew. Didn't try to defend them. Instead, he looked at the floor and said, "They've done it before. Took what they thought no one would notice. But this time, they used you." I nodded. "And they won't get away with it." I spent the afternoon compiling files. Screenshots, statements, bank notices. Every line of data felt like another bruise I didn't know I had. Grandpa watched TV on low volume while I built folders with titles like Evidence_01 and Fraud_confirmed. But even with everything I'd found, there was still that voice in my head. What if it's not enough? What if it's just my word against theirs again? Then my phone buzzed. Tamira W. sent an audio file. I froze. I hadn't spoken to her since the last family barbecue, if you could call a day of side eyes and awkward silence a barbecue. I hesitated before pressing play. Lorne's voice filled the air, sharp and smug. She won't even check her credit. It's not a big deal. She always folds. Always. Tamira's voice, quieter, anxious. But what if she finds out? I don't want to lie. Lorne cut her off. You're my wife. You back me up. Don't go all moral now. A beat. Then he laughed. Raylene's too soft. She was born to be used. Honestly, it's her fault for always showing up. I didn't realize I was gripping the phone so hard until my fingers ached. I hit save, no hesitation. Then I opened my inbox. Subject: Financial abuse and digital fraud, family related. To Natalie Brockman, Elder Protection Attorney. I uploaded every document, attached the recording, typed until my fingers went numb. Every line was a brick. Every attachment, mortar. I wasn't building a case. I was building a wall they wouldn't climb over. Grandpa stepped in quietly behind me. He must have heard it, part of the recording still playing through the phone's speaker. His expression didn't shift much, but his shoulders dropped. So, it's starting, he said. I turned around. No, it's ending. Morning came quiet. Grandpa was already in the kitchen, flipping grilled cheese with the kind of focus that said he needed a win today. I joined him, poured coffee, and opened my laptop again. We ate at the counter while I renamed files, organized folders, and added timestamps. Feels like we're building a case, Grandpa said, cutting into his sandwich. I nodded. That's exactly what we're doing. After lunch, I took a break, just 5 minutes. I opened Instagram without thinking. Big mistake. Maritza's story loaded instantly. She was in a white robe, lounging on a balcony that clearly didn't belong to her. Champagne in one hand, my Apple Watch on the other. Caption: Finally escaping the drama, self-care only, #grateful_af. Underneath it was a video of her clinking glasses with some influencer I didn't recognize, both giggling like high schoolers. My stomach turned. Not because she stole the watch, but because she felt safe enough to brag about it. She knew exactly what she was doing. She always had. I didn't yell, didn't throw my phone. I just hit save. Again. I took a screenshot, another and another, highlighted the date, the account activity, the location tag. I logged into Grandpa's health portal and matched the timeline. While she was toasting her freedom, I'd been in the kitchen logging his meds. Enough. I opened my email again, attached a new folder of images, and sent it to Natalie with the subject line: Updated evidence, misuse of funds, digital impersonation, public misconduct. Then I logged into the Adult Protective Services site and started a formal report. It wasn't dramatic, it was documentation. Because people like Maritza didn't stop when you cried. They stopped when you filed. Done? Grandpa asked when he noticed me close the laptop. I looked up. Just getting started. The garage door clattered open just after sunset. Laughter filtered in first. Maritza's high-pitched squeal, Carlene's syrupy "finally home," followed by suitcase wheels bumping over the threshold. I didn't move from the kitchen table. My laptop glowed. The stack of papers sat to my left. Highlighted statements, photo printouts, voice transcript. Didn't think to tidy up before we got home? Carlene called out, dropping her purse on the couch like it hadn't cost Grandpa 2 weeks of pension. I waited until all 4 of them were in the kitchen. Then I clicked. The first image on the screen, Maritza's Instagram story, her in a spa robe, my Apple Watch on her wrist. Next, a spreadsheet of withdrawals from Grandpa's retirement account, lined up next to charges from a spa in Scottsdale and payments to an influencer named Jennafit. Lauren's voice crackled from my phone. She's the only one dumb enough to say yes every time. I slid the printed report across the table. Carlene's jaw tightened. This is disgusting. You're turning on your own mother? Lauren slammed a hand against the chair. You bugged my wife? Maritza pulled out her phone and turned it toward herself. Just so everyone knows, this is the kind of trauma I have to live with. She began filming. I stood and grabbed her wrist. No, you don't get to film this. Delroy hovered near the hallway, silent. This is going to blow up everything, he said flatly. Good, I said. Maybe it should. I looked at each of them, one by one. You have 48 hours to fix this. Return what's mine. Return what you took from him, or everything goes public, legal, real consequences. Carlene opened her mouth. I held up a hand. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to end it. Grandpa stepped in behind me, didn't say a word, just stood beside me. No one spoke after that. By sunrise, it was already in motion. I sat at the table, same seat as last night, sipping coffee that had gone cold. Grandpa stirred his tea beside me, quiet but alert. The front door stayed shut. No yelling, no bargaining, just the faint rumble of a UPS truck outside. I'd mailed the letters an hour earlier, each one certified, each one stamped by Natalie's office. No emotion, just names, dates, charges, elder abuse, fraud, identity theft. No more conversations, no more warnings. By noon, the ripple had reached them. Maritza's agency sent a formal notice. Due to pending concerns regarding public image and financial misuse, we are suspending all affiliate campaigns. She locked her profile by 3 p.m. Lauren's bank accounts were frozen. Tamira must have acted fast. His texts came rapid fire. Why are you doing this? And, we're still family, Ray. I didn't reply. He'd always confused family with immunity. Carlene? Word got to her women's circle fast. Someone forwarded me the message thread. Until things are clarified, we're pausing your hosting duties. One woman simply wrote, disgusted. Grandpa watched it all unfold from the recliner, eyes following each ding of my phone. Late afternoon, I rented a moving van. We didn't take much. His chair, his medications, 2 boxes of photos and framed degrees. The house wasn't the problem. The people in it were. As we loaded the last lamp, he touched the doorframe, fingers brushing the worn wood. You okay leaving it? I asked. He didn't hesitate. I'm not leaving anything worth keeping. I slid the house key into an envelope and placed it on the mantel. No note, no goodbye, just silence. He held one small suitcase. I took the rest. We stepped outside and didn't look back. The apartment wasn't much, but it was ours. No creaky family portraits on the wall. No tension waiting behind closed doors. Just the hum of the fridge and the smell of instant coffee warming the kitchen. Grandpa's room had a window that faced the park. Every morning he sat by it with his throne, a second-hand recliner we found at a church sale. He said it reminded him of a Buick seat, and that was somehow a compliment. I worked remote now, HR consulting, regular hours. No more driving across state lines to check in on a household that had never really seen me. We had routines, coffee by 8, Jeopardy reruns after dinner, grocery trips on Tuesdays. Our grocery list was handwritten on a magnet pad, right under the words, 2-person family, add as needed. They didn't disappear though, I still saw them. Maritza changed her Instagram name to M_life_reset, all lowercase, like humility could be staged. Carlene posted cryptic Bible verses about betrayal and spiritual warfare. Lauren? I found a thread on Reddit asking for advice on fighting elder fraud charges when family disputes get out of hand. No one replied. And yet, there were better echoes too. Tamira messaged me out of the blue. I passed my first licensing exam, getting certified next spring. Thank you for showing me it was okay to leave. I read it twice before I smiled. Not everyone stayed broken. At the store one afternoon, an older woman ahead of me in the checkout line glanced back. You're the one, she said, from the story about your grandfather. Good for you. I didn't correct her. I didn't explain. I just nodded. Later that night, I jotted one sentence in my journal. They took so much, but they didn't take me. From the kitchen, Grandpa called out, "Soup or grilled cheese?" I closed the book. Both. After everything we went through, every quiet moment loaded with tension, every time someone chose betrayal over honesty, I came away with a truth I wish I'd grasped much earlier. You don't owe anyone your silence, especially not when they mistake love for control. For too long, I stayed quiet. I let others define what family meant, even when that definition erased dignity and ignored harm. But when I chose to stand up for my grandfather, it wasn't just about defending him. It was about drawing a line. It was about finally saying, enough. In a family where guilt was a weapon and peace came at the cost of truth, I stopped playing by those rules. I chose to protect what mattered. Not tradition, but decency. Not keeping the peace, but keeping my self-respect. If you've ever been the one expected to absorb everything, emotions, expectations, chaos, just to hold everyone else together, you're not alone. If you've ever had to walk away from your own version of family to protect your spirit, I see you. Caring deeply doesn't make you weak, but letting go of what hurts you, that's strength. That's growth. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is stop letting people take from you, simply because they've always been allowed to. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt the pressure to hold it all together for others, even when it broke you down inside? Or maybe you had to step away from people who were supposed to love you just to find your peace? Drop a 1 in the comments if this hit home, or share where you're watching from. And if this story moved something in you, if it brought something real to the surface, go ahead and subscribe. Because I'll keep telling stories like this, stories that remind us we're not alone. Sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones we finally decide to tell.